Hey there everyone, welcome to the round of 32 between Fizdarth and Ravexnous. As you can see, the score is 1-0 to Fizdarth as we did hop into this game just now for you guys. So let's take a quick look here. Fizdarth did win with Warrior the previous game, so he cannot play Warrior anymore. And let's see what other classes he has available to himself. So take a quick look. Fizdarth has Warlock and Hunter still available for himself. Meanwhile, his opponent Ravexnous has Hunter, Mage, and Warlock. So this is Conquest mode, so if you win with a class, you have to give up that class, so to speak. You can't play with it anymore. You have to win with all three of your classes.
I wonder.
So let's take a quick look here. Fizdarth looks like he's going to coin Haunted Creeper here. Has a Mana Worm to deal with pretty soon. So Ravexnous is drawing into the Flame Cannon. Has double Flame Cannon in his hand here and a Frostbolt. So has some offensive power right here, but nothing too great. Definitely has enough to stop that Knife Juggler that's probably going to drop next turn. And with that said, I feel that Fizdarth might have done a little bit better just passing turn and using Coin Eaglehorn Bow for next turn, because he is well, I guess they changed that, but still getting rid of that Mana Worm is probably like a pretty big priority. So now it's going to be a little bit difficult to take care of. Like with the Haunted Creeper out on the field, doesn't really do too much, I feel. So Ravexnous taking his time. Not too sure if he actually wants to fireball the Haunted Creeper and then attack with it into the Mana Worm, because if he did, that Fizdarth would have just had enough resources to attack into that Mana Worm freely. But Flame Cannon is going to be dropped first. So that's one Flame Cannon down, and his Mana Worm being dropped to a 2-2 Fizdarth now. His turn Mad Scientist being dropped. And the one attack landing onto Ravexnous. Of course, attacking into the Mana Worm, not gonna do anything anytime soon. 3 mana Flame Waker looks to be the card for Ravexnous to be dropped. Both players taking a lot of time with their plays here, so let's see if I can pull up some trivia for you guys. So Fizdarth has been invited and played since season 7 to 11, and he is the winner of season 8 and 10. And Warlock, Warrior, Hunter are his stable classes since season 9. Looks like that is the case now as well. And he's the highest invited legend ranked Malaysian player for season 12. He's ranked 43 as we are speaking right now. That Mad Scientist is going to drop, is going to give that Explosive Trap over towards Fizdarth. Another Flame Waker being top decked. Explosive Trap is going to trigger, going to burn down most on the field, going to give another durability over to that Eaglehorn. Both Fizdarth having to face another 2-4 Flame Waker. Does he have anything out there? Not really. I guess the best thing he can do is just drop 5 damage onto Ravexnous, as I don't think he wants to drop that Knife Juggler right now, and Houndmaster not being too useful as well. So also a little bit fun fact, the top 3 most represented classes from season 7 to 11 were Warlock, Druid, and Warrior. Warlock sitting at 20.9%, Druid at 17.81%, and Warrior sitting at 17.35%. And the least represented classes were Shaman, Priest, and Rogue. Some players do really like that Rogue class with the Oil Mage coming in. And lowest class representation in any season is Priest. Only one player brought Priest for both season 9 and 10. And Paladin, only one player brought in Paladin for season 11, which is the previous season. And for this Legend Series, season 12, The most represented classes were Warlock, Warrior, and Hunter. And the least represented classes for this season are Shaman, Priest, and Rogue. So actually more Paladins being picked up this time, it seems. And it seems like Hunter, 23 players have signed up with Hunter. Now Ravexnous with that Flame Wick. Nothing too much has happened, so it has been a little bit of a slow game. Ravexnous can take care of that Houndmaster pretty easily by just Frost Bolting it. Nothing really big that he has to worry about playing against the Hunter. Pacing has been a little bit slow for this game. Fizdarth now being dropped to 21 with all that excessive damage coming in as well. 2 damage from the Void, from the Flame Waker, and 1 from the Fire Blast. Both players playing pretty conservatively. Finally, the Sludge Belcher making an appearance, and Fizdarth actually expending the last stack of his Eaglehorn Bow just to get rid of that Flame Waker. Of course, does have a second stack of mana available, or a second stack of second Eaglehorn Bow available, excuse me. So it doesn't really matter too much.
I wonder.
So Ravexnous coming out with the mechanical Yeti here. Fire Blast coming out as well, so that leaves Fizdarth in kind of the lethal range here for the Sludge Belcher if he does attack into that mechanical Yeti. Savannah Highmane being dropped. And 3 damage. And Ravexnous finally with the Archmage Antonidas. And Ravexnous probably would want to play it, but not until the board of Fizdarth is wiped out. And Ravexnous doesn't really have anything to wipe out that board. A lot of strong Death Rattle effects coming in from Fizdarth's field, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see him play that Knife Juggler and attack his Savannah Highmane into something just to get some daggers being tossed left and right. Azure Drake dropped. Mirror Image being pulled with the draw power coming in from that one. The Flame Cannon burning and getting rid of the Sludge Belcher, so Savannah Highmane still standing, but probably not too long as the Sludge himself will drop as well. Now Knife Juggler is probably going to be the card dropped for Fizdarth, as if that Savannah Highmane dies, he will get 2 cards out of it at the very least, but looks like that Savannah Highmane is still going to live regardless, no matter what it attacks. Web Spinner coming out, and he's hoping that 1 damage will land onto either of the 2 minions, which it will, so Fizdarth can now equip that Eaglehorn Bow attack into that Azure Drake, as it was weakened to 4-3, so that's going to be a clean sweep for Fizdarth, getting rid of everything. Even gets a spare part for it, the Reversing Switch, swap a minion's attack and health, and the Whirling Blades for Ravexnous, but he's not going to be doing anything with that now. Fizdarth taking a little bit of a risk here, as he's dropping himself to pretty low values here, considering he's playing against the spellcasting mage, like throwing about a lot of spells. Sorcerer's Apprentice being pulled, but Ravexnous just wants to play the Archmage Antonidas, but can he really? I mean, he can if he plays that Mirror Entity, but the question remains, will that Archmage Antonidas survive another turn? And the answer to that is probably not, as it is sitting only at 5-7. And Fizdarth can just take care of it by attacking 1 Mirror Entity or Mirror Image with his weapon, the other one with the Knife Juggler, and then just attacking his Archmage and his Web Spinner straight into that Archmage Antonidas. Well, at the very least, Ravexnous will get 2 spells. We'll get another Fireball from that one, so for 12 damage. Now Fizdarth, considering his options here, realistically it is the best play he can make, just getting rid of everything on the field as much as possible. So he doesn't want to keep that Archmage Antonidas standing for too much longer. So first Mirror Image will fall. And second Will Claw, and then Web Spinner attacking into Antonidas, along with the Savannah High Main to follow it up with. And gets a Direwolf Alpha for his troubles as well, so that's going to be really beneficial with the 2/2 Hyenas as well. Now, if Ravexnous draws into another Fireball, that is going to be a little bit disastrous, as Ravexnous can just chuck Fireballs to Fizdarth with nothing that Fizdarth can do about it. Fizdarth is a little bit on a timer here, steady shot being dropped as well. Fizdarth just wants to do as much damage as possible, has a total of 7 damage on the field right now, has a consistent damage barrage of 9 coming in, and Ravexnous with the Dr. Boom can even add a lot more pressure to that one as well. Secret being pulled or played here is Freezing Trap. So Ravexnous in a really good position here. Only got 1 card from his Archmage Antonidas, but that might have just been enough. So if one of those minions really keeps standing and a little bit of damage will land into Fizdarth, then Ravexnous will have the game here. Fizdarth, what is he gonna pull? Pulls himself a Web Spinner, not too useful now, sadly. Web Spinner coming across, 1 dagger landing straight into Ravexnous. Is the Direwolf Alpha gonna follow up with that one? Fizdarth knows that Ravexnous has at least 1 Fireball in hand coming in from that Archmage Antonidas. Doesn't know the second one is available for Ravexnous as well. So bombs landing, 1 damage landing onto Fizdarth as well. And that is going to be game for Ravexnous, no matter how Fizdarth is going to play this one out. Secrets or no secrets, next turn has 10 mana and exactly 13 damage in his hand, and with his hero power added onto that one as well. So Fizdarth, a little bit of a futile struggle. Ravexnous just waiting for Fizdarth to end his turn so he can go all out in this one. Card is being drawn, the Mad Scientist. Doesn't really matter. Ravexnous having lethal in hand. The well played comes out. Ravexnous will win the second game in this best of 5, and we will be moving on to game 3 with the scores all tied up.
Versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine! Let the hunt begin. Get in there and fight, maggot!
One shot, one kill.
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 3 between Fizdarth and Ravexnous in the round of 32. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a faster paced game here, as it is going to be Hunter versus Warlock in this game 3. Scores is all tied up 1-1. Glaive Zuka being equipped by Fizdarth, but the battle cry effect not really coming in handy now, as Fizdarth didn't really have anything out on the field. Knife Juggler being dropped by Ravexnous, and Fizdarth probably is going to be forced to attack into that one yet again.
I'll show them. I'll show them all.
So Fizdarth getting rid of the Knife Juggler does take a bit of damage, though, now being dropped to 24. Ravexnous has a good number of cards in hand. Implosion, Knife Juggler, Imp Gang Boss. Probably wants to save that Knife Juggler until he has 6 mana and can combo it off properly with the Implosion, though.
Stop yelling.
Imp Gang Boss being dropped by Ravexnous, so that can start to generate a little bit of advantage for him. Now up to Fizdarth, how he is going to take care of that one. Looks like his Zeus strategy is not really working out too well for him as of now. Drops the little Haunted Creeper out on the field. At the very least, we'll get a secret if that mad scientist will eventually die, but looks like that's still going to take a little bit of time. Dark Iron Dwarf, the card being pulled by Ravexnous. I'm just kind of looking at how both of these players want to play this one out, because both really have that kind of weird Zeus strategy where you kind of benefit from your monsters like dying or like doing damage to the opponent, and with those special cards like Implosion really builds up your board, but you need something big to kill it with, otherwise it's not really worthwhile. In the meantime, Haunted Creeper is such a low value minion, but it does take care of the other low value minions, so it kind of goes into a back and forth where both players don't want to spend too much resources taking care of that one. Ravexnous now dropping his second Knife Juggler will probably get taken care of with a quick shot fairly soon.
Job's done.
Now Fizdarth doing as much damage as he can. Has a quick shot, has an Arcane Golem in his hand. Looking at the previous turn, was just trying to do as much damage as possible. Doesn't really care about what Ravexnous has out on the field. But that is going to come back to bite him a little bit, as Ravexnous does have a defensive minion out in his hand in the form of the Voidwalker. So that's going to stop Fizdarth a little bit in his track, especially since I think he was planning on doing a big chunk of damage, like the big 7 damage in one go, along with the explosive trap for 9. But it looks like that plan is going to be stopped pretty soon if Ravexnous does decide to play that Voidwalker. Traps haven't been sprung just yet, so Ravexnous does probably have a fair idea of what Fizdarth has in play right now.
Why do you fall?
Now Fizdarth drawing into an Eaglehorn bow does have the proper equipment to take care of that Voidwalker quite easily. And now with that said, Fizdarth probably just has to wait, as he has a little bit of the advantage here just because he has that explosive trap. So if Ravexnous decides to run into Fizdarth, Ravexnous will get 3 minions in return from it in the form of the Haunted Creeper. But still, Fizdarth has that consistent damage coming in from the steady shot and has a quick 7 damage out of nowhere if needed. So looking at it, how is Ravexnous gonna play this one out? So Ravexnous can also do it, but a little bit differently, since Fizdarth has no minions out on the field. Ravexness can just start to spam the field and try to do as much damage with daggers as possible, but at one point he has to attack, and that means that trap will trigger unless unless Ravexnous has a Xan Mystic being pulled or in his deck somewhere that he can pull. But he has to pull it fast, or otherwise Fizdarth is just going to hammer away with those steady shots. Explosive Trap is going to trigger, bringing Ravexnous down to 12. Is almost out of time. Attack, of course, is not going to come through, but more minions are spawning out on the field. Dark Iron Dwarf looking to be played here. Pretty much for no reason, just wants those minions out on the field to be aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. What is Fizdarth gonna pull? Pulls into an Arcane Golem, so does have 11 damage coming out for 8 mana, so just has to survive this turn, which is fairly possible. Or actually, doesn't even have to survive this turn, as he has an Eagle Horn bow out on the field. Is gonna attack 4-5. The steady shot and the quick shot gonna be more than enough. Fizdarth winning Game 3 in this best of 5 series.
Versus Rexa!
Let the hunt begin. Your soul shall be mine.
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 4 between Fizdarth and Ravexnous, Warlock versus Hunter. So it seems the roles have been reversed. So looking at it here, Fizdarth, having won with Hunter, knows probably how to play against this deck with the deck he has right now. Dark Bomb coming out fairly early to take care of that Knife Juggler coming out, and I'm actually surprised to see Knife Juggler coming out so soon. Animal Companion being dropped, and Fizdarth does get a Misha for that one now. Or Ravexnous does get a Misha for that one, so Fizdarth probably wise to do Coin Implosion here and hopes he gets the 4. Has a 1 in 3 chance of outright killing it. Now what is he gonna get? Only gets the 2 damage and 2 imps in return, so not killing it off. Now Haunted Creeper being summoned by Ravexnous, 2 of them. Fizdarth doesn't probably want to use the Hellfire just yet, so I'm kind of wondering how he wants to get rid of everything, because he does have good board clear cards, has have Hellfire, does have the Mortal Coil, but doesn't really have the greatest way of like clearing the board properly, because he probably wants to save that Hellfire until both of those Spectrals or Haunted Creepers do trigger. So So Fizdarth now with Iron Beak Owl silencing at least one of the spiders here. And Ravexnous still having one Haunted Creeper out on the field. Fizdarth slowly generating advantage with his cards here. Ravexnous just throwing a lot out. Already used one Animal Companion, using both of his Haunted Creepers. Now playing the low of him fairly early. I'm not too sure if I agree with that choice. Probably because he did not want to waste his second Animal Companion this early. It does set Fizdarth a turn behind, but looking at the cards in his hand, it doesn't really seem like it matters too much at this point.
I wonder.
Ravexnous actually taking his time thinking, was this the best decision here?
Get in there and fight, maggot! I've got the beast in my sight.
Now Big Game Hunter being used to snipe down that Loafup quite effectively with the Abusive Sergeant. So no spells used to wipe out the field. And Fizdarth with a pretty strong position as well. Ravexnous looking to use the Houndmaster to take care of that one Haunted Creeper being buffed to a 3-4. More than enough to take care of both of those minions. And I feel that Fizdarth might want to use the Hellfire at this point after attacking with his Big Game Hunter, of course. Fizdarth drawing into a Twilight Drake, but still looking at Ravexnous' card, looking at his hand size at the very least, I feel that Fizdarth can afford to just attack into the Haunted Creeper and then use the Hellfire. He will lose a little bit of health. He will be back to he will be buffed back or to 16. But he does have an Earthen Ring Farseer, does have an anti-kill bot to stall it out, and Ravexnous doesn't really have the greatest cards in his hand. Of course, he does have a Dr. Boom, so he might want to wait with that until the Dr. Boom is being played. But multiple options out on the field. Fizdarth is slowly running out of time, though, so has to make a decision sooner or later. Twilight Drake being dropped on the field. Now Ravexnous, a lot of options here. Houndmaster coming out, Animal Companion, Freezing Trap. I'm actually surprised that Houndmaster is not a beast, because he is clearly a werewolf in that picture. Fizdarth going for the going for something here. Ravexnous is attacking into quite mercilessly, and it looks like Fizdarth does have an option here, attacking and then using the Hellfire, and he will have 3 mana to heal himself back up, so Hellfire is gonna clear out everything now. Fizdarth is hoping that he doesn't take too much damage. 4 and 4 straight to the face, has to heal himself back up to 5, and now Ravexnous can go for a lucky roll here. If he gets Huffer from this one, he will win this one. Does get the Huffer and the steady shot to finish him. Looks like we are going to game 5.
soul shall be mine! Your soul shall suffer!
Hey there everyone, welcome to Game 5 between Fizdarth and Ravexnous. Fizdarth with a little bit of an unfortunate played a Hellfire to clear a board, only to be hit with double 4 damage from Dr. Boom's Boombots, which allowed Ravexnous to get a lucky roll on an animal companion and allowed him to win the game and move into a Game 5. Fizdarth with a coin. It looks like he's going for the Blackwing Technician here, so if you're holding a dragon game +1/+1, turning it into a 3/5. Of course, Fizdarth is holding a dragon in his hand, the Twilight Drake. So Fizdarth had a couple of other dragons in his hand as well, so it looks like he's going for that kind of a playstyle here. Ravexnous going for a Nerubian Egg here, 1 damage and landing onto the Blackwing Technician. And does he have a way to force the Nerubian Egg to pop itself? Yes, he does. The Power Overwhelming in the next turn at the very least, but not too sure what he is going to do with the Knife Juggler.
So many possibilities.
As Ravexnous is saying, so many possibilities. Well, he is at least forcing that Blackwing Technician to go to a 3/2 and kill itself if it does attack into the Knife Juggler. But of course, Fizdarth doesn't have to do that, as he does have a fairly handy Hellfire in his hands. Ravexnous sacrificing a lot of resources here. Ironbeak Owl coming in pretty handy if he does decide to use it against the Nerubian Egg. And a little too late now, as Fizdarth decides to play it this way. Ravexnous Power Overwhelming is available, so he can take care of that Blackwing Technician. And Ravexnous actually using the implosion that he had just gotten to get 4 extra imps out on the field. Fizdarth now forced to bring out that Twilight Drake here. Now Ravexnous can take care of it pretty easily with Power Overwhelming Dark Iron Dwarf, and would have the mana to do so. Of course, that would leave quite the field, a little bit overextending maybe, as Fizdarth still has a Hellfire available to himself to wipe out the field. Both of these players taking it fairly slow, as they do want to make it to the next round. But it looks like he is going to go for that play. Power Overwhelming for the first card played, and the Dark Iron Dwarf to follow it up with. Ravexnous being rewarded with a 4 for Nerubian on the next turn, and Fizdarth doesn't really have the resources to take care of both of those unless he draws into a second Hellfire. Well, no, he doesn't. He gets a Lord Jaraxxus for his trouble, but even a Sludge Belcher might not really help him out right now.
So many possibilities. I wonder.
Now, Fizdarth does decide to go for a defensive route here to Sludge Belcher, but Ravexnous having a more than adequate response in it in the form of the Defender of Argus can buff up his Dark Iron Dwarf to 5/5, easily running over that Sludge Belcher, and even 1 imp to 2/2, so he can take care of the little slime that's coming out, and that would leave 7 damage straight up on the board as well. So Haunted Creeper looks to be the card that's coming out for Ravexnous. And with that, his board is full, I'd say, so you can't really follow up with anything. Not too sure why he did that. So I'm kind of speculating here on why he would want to play it out this way, but regardless, just decided to do it a little bit differently, so sacrificing a couple of imps as well. A lot of damage landing on Fizdarth. Probably played it that way because he wanted to do the maximum amount of damage on Fizdarth, who has drawn into his own implosion and probably has to think about using that Hellfire pretty soon if he actually wants to come back into this game. But still, 2 extra Spiderlings being summoned once that Haunted Creeper is gonna die is nothing to really scoff at. And those big game hunters are just kind of doing nothing in Fizdarth's hand right now. Silence may be used onto that Haunted Creeper to make sure it won't spawn any more spiders, burning everything away, leaving that 5/2 Dark Iron Dwarf out on the field. But is that going to be game? Not yet. It's going to do a lot of damage, at the very least 12 damage landing in total onto Fizdarth, and Fizdarth doesn't really have a way to come back into this one. Draws into what might be his last card, can't play the Lord Jarax's, and that is all but game for him. Implosion landing onto the Dark Iron Dwarf. Is it going to be enough? 2 imps spawning, and life taps himself to death. Ravexnous will be moving on towards the round of 16. So congratulations to Ravexnous. He will be moving on towards the round of 16, which we will try to bring you as soon as possible. As always, in the meantime, enjoy the music. We'll be right back with some more Hearthstone action.